Hello, my real estate family. So today I'm going to bring you real estate chisme, real estate gossip time. So I'm going to be telling you about a story that happened to me recently. It involved fraud. And so real estate, I don't see a lot of agents talking about what really happens in real estate. A lot of people think, oh, they make easy money, or that job is so fun, or that job is so cool. They have it easy. No, not at all. So I'm going to tell you about. Sorry, I thought I heard a noise. It was my refrigerator. Anyway, I'm going to tell you about my fraudulent client. So, since this is for YouTube, I'm going to tell you the whole story with the juicy and everything. The whole story. So be prepared. I get an email from this guy, and the email says, "Hey, I really like this property. Saw it several times online, and I'm interested and I want to buy it. I want to put an offer in. Can you help me?" Normal conversation, real estate conversation. Sure, of course I can help you. Um, you know, in real estate, before we can put any, or at least here in Texas, um, in order to put an offer in, most or all listing agents ask for a pre-qualification letter, a pre-approval letter. That means you've talked to your bank, you've gotten pre-qualified, they've checked your finances. There's a good chance you qualify for that loan, right? So, in this case, it was a cash buyer, so we don't have to involve banks. They have the cash, they pay for it. The thing we do ask for is proof of funds. He sends me, I tell him, "Hey, sir, um, in order to put this offer in, I'm going to need proof of funds. However, don't you want to see it in person first? It's always best to see a property in person. Pictures, they, sometimes you see a property online, and when you go in person, you're like, whoa, that was totally different, right?" Well, he's like, "No, I'm very convinced. I love this property." And so I was like, "Okay, cool." So I said, "I need your proof of funds and I need a form of ID." And so he sends me his proof of funds, and his proof of funds were pretty good. I mean, there were millions of dollars in this document. So I'm like, okay, so we obviously don't have a problem with funding. He sends me his international passport, everything legit. I put an offer in for him, and he even tells me, "Hey, I'm gonna want an inspection on this property, and I'm an offshore engineer, so this is why I prefer email communication. My signal is not too great out here." So I mean, everything sounded legit, right? Everything sounded like a reasonable story. So I'm like, "Okay, no problem." He's like, "Please send the contract via DocuSign." There was nothing abnormal about the situation. So we get proof of funds, or he had already sent me the proof of funds. I get the contract ready. I send it over to him via email. He gets it back to me. We send it to the listing agent. We go under contract. Everything starts seeming like a normal, you know, transaction. So he tells me, "Hey, so I'm gonna ask you to get a hold of my asset manager. My manager is in charge of my finances. I've already authorized him to send a partial payment. So I need to, I'm very interested for this property." And so I was like, wow, this guy is really interested. Like, he's even sending it was a large partial payment. It was like 130 something thousand. I don't remember the exact number, but it was a large amount. So I explained to him that here in Texas, we don't need that large of a payment. We just needed the option fee money and the earnest money. So option fee money, for those that you don't know, option fee money is, the right to back out of a contract during the option period. That, you get, no questions asked. You change your mind, you don't like what the inspection report says, you have that right to back out unconditionally in lieu of, you pay an option fee. So that could be $100, 150, whatever. Um, so, since he had sent in the payment of 100 and something thousand, well, we're like, that's enough to cover option fee. That's enough to cover earnest money. Earnest money is like your good faith deposit that you give as part of when you do a contract here in Texas. I'm talking about just Texas real estate, guys. I don't know how it works in New York, California, Florida. This is Texas. So he even tells me, "Hey, can you help me find an attorney?" That was a very reasonable. I'm like, okay, this guy's really serious. But here in Texas, we don't need attorneys to do this kind of stuff. Everything goes through title and gets put in escrow. Anyway, um, I told him we don't need that large payment. We just need you to send in your option fee money and your earnest money. But it seemed like he was just ignoring every direction I would tell him, and he would even he even asked me to include him in every email with his asset manager. So everything sounded like super legit. So I tried calling the asset manager, and the asset manager, of course, doesn't answer. And the client, or this fraud guy, let's just call him my client. The client had told me, if you aren't able to reach him by phone, please email him. He's very busy. And, everything sounded so legit. So I was like, okay, sure. Well, we emailed the asset manager. He was hardly ever responsive. He just kind of just said, hey, I've sent in the cashier's check. The client's name, I'm not going to disclose his name. The client's name, the client has authorized me to send this payment in. Where should we send it in? We give him the address. He sends in title confirms that they received the check. But there was a mistake done where the cashier's check was sent in the name of the manager instead of my client's name, and they could not deposit the check into escrow because it had to be under the client's name, not since he was he's the one on the contract. So there was a big mess on that. And then he was very hard to get any response. I would email him, say, hey, we really need to get your inspection done because his option period was for 5 days. And so we really need to get an inspection done within those 5 days. That way we get the report back and he gets to have the discretion of reading over the report and seeing if he wants to negotiate repairs or if he wants to back out due to whatever is on the report. So I was really concerned about getting him, his inspection done, but he never answered. He would never answer to those emails. So I was like, well, maybe he's just really not interested. Maybe regardless of what that inspection is going to say, he's going to get the property anyway. He's already authorized a large payment, so he's pretty serious about this property. Well, he never directed us to get an inspection done, so we didn't order one, obviously, because that has to come from the client. And then I would send him emails like, hey, when are you going to be into town? When are you coming? Closing is such and such date. I need to know when you're going to be flying in so that I can do the final walkthrough with you of the property so you can see it in person. No answer, no answer, no answer. And then when it was getting closer to closing, he started being very responsive with title. Hey, I really need you to send me the receipt that you received my payment. Hey. The title kept telling him, I've already told you that we cannot deposit this check because of this and this reason. It has to be under your name, or we need this. There was some kind of deal there. He kept saying that the document was never sent to him, to his manager, for him to sign this document that they needed to deposit the check into escrow. So a day before closing, we were scheduled to close. I get a call from the title company saying, hey, I have really bad news. I just verified this cashier's check. and it is a fraudulent check. You know, at that point, everybody was in shock. Nobody could believe it because this guy really seemed legit. He really seemed, he had a really believing story. Offshore engineer, didn't have good service. That's why I only email. He was very proper in his emails. He was concerned about his receipts. He was concerned about various things. And so, you know, we never saw anything out of the ordinary with this transaction. It's just very unfortunate that we caught it a day before closing. You know, I'm glad that we caught it on time. And I don't know, man. It's surprising to me to see how much time people have to do stupid things and waste people's time. And I mean, it's very unfortunate for the sellers too, because you know, they're out of their time and money. They were expecting to get their home sold and they didn't get it. Now, you know, they didn't sell it. Now they have to find a new buyer and go through this process again. It's very unfortunate for everybody involved. It's unfortunate for me. It's unfortunate for the listing agent as well, and it's unfortunate for the seller. It's just an overall crazy, you know, thing. And I mean, that guy, he sent, it looked very legit proof of funds. We just, you know, I'm just glad we caught it, but it's a very unfortunate situation. I don't know what he was thinking, if he could fraud his way into buying a property. I mean, checks have to clear, so I don't know. But real estate is not always flowers and roses. It's also, you know, there's bad things that happen and unfortunate situations, and that's just part of our job and part of what we do. And all we can do is move on to the next one and learn from it and be more cautious next time. And there has been transactions where I know my colleagues have just talked through straight through email, and it's been legit. So I don't even know, man. It's very sad, but thank you for sitting and listening to my story. I'm gonna continue to post stories like this. If you would like me to, if you have any questions, or if you would like me to talk about a specific topic regarding real estate or anything, leave it in the comments. I'm more than happy to answer any questions. But bye for now. Thank you.